What is going on, everybody, and welcome into a Main Event Wrestling Network YouTube exclusive. I tried to get together with some of the guys and do a main event mixer today. It is Labor Day as I'm recording this, but just seems like we couldn't get our schedules to match, so I figured I would put out some content for the network. Of course, I am Mr. OTM, Kyle Gagliardi from the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, but you may already have known that. Regardless, you can follow me, as you can see on screen, at 2SweetKyle. And you can follow the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast if you're interested in listening to our podcast at Pod on the Mark on all the socials. We are usually live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central. So if you want to check us out, go ahead and give us a follow. Nonetheless, welcome into the Main Event Wrestling Network's YouTube channel. We are a brand new network, been around for about a year now, looking to expand. We're always looking to add some more content creators. So if you want to create YouTube content like this, start your own show here on the network. Or if you have a podcast, you like blogging, anything that can contribute to the network as a whole, please reach out to one of us. Or reach out to the Main Event Network on the socials at mainevent_net. Also make sure you're following us on TikTok, Instagram. We're all over the place. So we are trying to grow, and we can get to our goals if you help us get there by subscribing, liking, sharing, doing all that good stuff. But nonetheless, enough shilling. Let's get into my NXT No Mercy review, which happened last night. And overall, I thought it was a really solid show. I'm not going to sit here and say it was one of the best shows of the year. It was not. But like I said on my own Twitter account, not every show needs to be spectacular, as long as we just keep the storylines progressing. I think that's what they accomplished here at NXT No Mercy. So, to start off the show, we got new tag team champions as Nathan Frazier and Axiom were able to defeat Chase U and reclaim those tag team titles. I, for one, was very surprised, and I think a lot of you probably were as well, just because Chase U just recently won those tag team titles. They had a very short reign. I thought they were going to retain here, but regardless, the match was really good. And whenever Chase U and Fraxium, as people like to call them, get together, they usually put on good matches. And I'm not going to sit here and say this was the best match that I've seen out of Nathan Frazier and Axiom, but it was very fun regardless. I'm not mad about them getting the tag team titles back because I think they have been the staple of the tag division in NXT for the last year. So putting the titles on them is a very safe move, but the story really coming out of all of this is the fact that Ridge Holland ended up turning on Chase U, which I don't know how I feel about it because Ridge Holland was just recently a heel, and I kind of like seeing this babyface side of him. We obviously know what happened when he ended up injuring Big E and costing him basically his career. He got a lot of flack. He was very depressed. I actually felt really bad for the guy because obviously it was a freak accident. But now he's going back to the heel side. He's definitely going to get a lot of boos, but I would have maybe liked to seen Duke Hudson have turned heel. Duke's been with Chase U now for a couple years and been working as a babyface, but we got to see him do some heel stuff back in the day. I enjoyed his heel work, and I think Duke Hudson is on the cusp of breaking out. He probably would have benefited more from this heel turn, but obviously they see something in Ridge Holland. The match itself was very good, very entertaining, hot start. I'd probably give it a B+. That's how I'm going to do my grading here. I'm not like Dave Meltzer. I'm not going to give out star ratings. I'm just going to go off a regular American grading scale, a B+, which sits about 86 to 89 right there. So really good start there. New tag team champions. Let me take a sip of water. I'm doing this by myself, obviously. Next match we're going to talk about, and yeah, I don't want to do the post-editing. That's just how I roll. You're getting off the cuff. Next matchup I really enjoyed. Might have been my match of the night just because I love the story that was being told here. Obviously, everybody knows the history between Zach Wentz and Wes Lee with their faction, the Rascals. And of course, that came into play here too, as Trey Miguel was really the reason that Zach Wentz ended up getting the win, which, by the way, was very cool seeing the TNA X Division title featured on the WWE PLE. I mean, just incredible stuff, groundbreaking stuff. 2024 wrestling is very cool. But yeah, Zach Wentz gets the win here in a very fast-paced matchup. Like I said, Trey Miguel ended up getting involved as well, so it was nice to see those two celebrate afterwards. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time maybe ever that a rostered TNA superstar got a win on a WWE PLE. So absolutely huge win for Zach Wentz. Like I said, really enjoyed this one. I don't think it's over between the Rascals as a whole. As we found out, it seems like Trey Miguel and Zach Wentz are going after the tag team titles now, going after Fraxium. And I think maybe Wes Lee will end up costing them their opportunity there and will continue this feud. But yeah, Zach Wentz gets a big win. Wes Lee looked great as always. For me, that matchup gets an A. It's not perfect, but honestly, the story that they were being told, it was well done. So that one definitely gets an A for me. Really good matchup there. Next match we're going to talk about, it was the match I least enjoyed on the card. No disrespect to Kalani Jordan or Wendy Chu. I'm just not a big fan of either of these women. Kalani Jordan definitely has the intangibles. She definitely deserved to be, in my opinion, the first NXT North American Women's Champion because she's a project and they see a lot in her. I see a lot in her. It's just, I feel like her character, or lack thereof, hasn't really connected with the NXT audience. Of course, you're going to have your diehards that like Kalani Jordan. That's fine. Everybody's entitled to like who they like. Just for me personally, nothing about her has excited me yet. I can see that she has the tools, like I said. In ring, she's very good, but you can tell she's still green. And this Wendy Chu character, man, it's just not working for me. The first one didn't work for me. This isn't connecting with me. And it kind of showed in this matchup. I lost a lot of interest when this match came on TV. I'm not going to sit here and say it was a bad match, because it wasn't. It was an okay match at best. I think Kalani Jordan retaining is the right decision. There's a lot of other people that could be elevated by getting that title off of Kalani Jordan here in the near future. They have a very deep women's roster in NXT, so I don't think it's time for Kalani to drop it yet. Glad she didn't. She defeats Wendy Chu. Like I said, wasn't a fan of this one. If I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm going to give it a C-. Just didn't do it for me. The next matchup, though, did do it for me, and kind of surprised with the winner, kind of not. I mean, the run that Obafemi has been on has been impressive, but if you paid attention to the OTM predictions episode that we did last week, I thought Tony D was going to get the win just because I feel like Obafemi has outgrown that NXT North American title. Nonetheless, definitely my favorite Tony D'Angelo matchup that we have gotten in NXT to date. I thought he really matched up well against Obafemi and seemed like a legitimate challenger for that title. And there was some great near falls in this matchup as well. But Obafemi, man, you talk about the next big thing. He's it. He's that guy. He is ready for the next step. He is ready for the NXT title. He is ready for the main roster. That dude just has it. And this matchup delivered, in my opinion. It took a while for the crowd to get into it. I'm not sure why. Maybe there was a lot of casuals in the crowd, but I thought from start to finish, this was a really good one. Like I said, Wentz and Lee might have been my match of the night. This might have been 1B. I'm going to give Obafemi defeating Tony D'Angelo an A-. I just thought it was really good, and I'm really interested to see who's going to be next to step up to Obafemi. Last two matchups we're going to talk about. Roxanne Perez, who retained her NXT Women's title against Jada Parker. I have to say this. Kudos to Jada Parker, man. She's only been in wrestling for 2 years now, and she just gets it. She has it. She looked like a star, and she belonged in this matchup against Roxanne Perez. The match itself, for me, gets a B+. Like I said, Jada looked like she was ready for that moment. Roxanne, one of the greatest NXT Women's Champions of all time, if not the greatest. I think you could start to make that case. I don't know the stats exactly that Vic Joseph was spewing out on the show, but I believe she has competed in the second most matches on NXT PLEs behind Io Sky, and if I'm not mistaken, has one of the longer NXT women's title reigns. I don't know, chat, let me know, but regardless, you got to give Jada Parker her flowers because she definitely held her own in this one, but what's got everybody talking is what happened after the match. Giulia made her NXT debut confronting the NXT Women's Champion, Roxanne Perez. And I know the kids are saying it, but you talk about aura, that's what Giulia had when she came out. That entrance with all the smoke, then her name shows across the Tron. She just goes out there, stares down Roxanne. What a moment that was. In my opinion, this should have been the matchup and the moment that closed NXT No Mercy after knowing what happened in the main event. But regardless, very excited to see Giulia versus Roxanne Perez in the near future. I do think Giulia is going to be the one to take that NXT Women's Championship off of Roxanne Perez, just because I believe Roxanne Perez is ready for the main roster. So yeah, the match itself, for me, gets a B+, but that moment afterwards, Giulia's debut, that's an A+, dog. It doesn't get much better than that. Giulia is the real deal. If you're not familiar with her, get familiar with her, because she is going to be a star in NXT. Sip time. I think there's been enough talk. It's time for the main event. Let's get into the main event where Ethan Page defended and retained, there we go, his NXT championship over Joe Hendry. And what a moment that was for Joe Hendry. A TNA rostered superstar main eventing an NXT PLE. And he delivered as well. I thought Joe Hendry was awesome in this matchup. I have not seen many Joe Hendry matchups in my day because, like I've said numerous times, I strictly stick to WWE, AEW, and GCW. There's just so much time in the week, it's hard to watch other companies. But Joe Hendry deserved to be in the main event, and even though he didn't get the win, I enjoyed it. I'm not going to sit here and say it was a great match. It was good, at best, probably. A fair grade, I think, would probably be a B for this one, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think Ethan Page definitely deserves to hold that title a little bit longer. I think he is the right guy to have that title going into the debut in Chicago on the CW. It's gonna be an arena show. There's gonna be probably 8,000 to 10,000 people there in Chicago. CM Punk's on the card. Ethan Page now, I believe, has to defend his title against Trick Williams, but who knows where Pete Dunne falls in all of this. I wouldn't be surprised if we got Ethan Page versus Trick Williams versus Pete Dunne for the NXT title on the very first show on the CW for NXT on October 1st. I think that would be a money match. Joe Hendry, it's going to be interesting to see what's next for him because he said he could show up on any brand. Do we see him on SmackDown? Does he maybe answer an LA Knight Open Challenge? I'm not sure, but I definitely don't think we're done seeing Joe Hendry on WWE television. But yeah, Ethan Page retains. Pete Dunne beats down Trick Williams after the matchup. Like the involvement with Trick there as a special guest referee, I thought he did a good job. But yeah, it wasn't my match of the night. Still solid. I'll give it a B, maybe even a B-. Maybe I'm being a little too generous there. But overall, NXT No Mercy was a really good show. I'm not going to sit here and say it was great. Only one stinker on the card for me personally. But like I said, if you liked it, who cares? You're entitled to like what you like. Just for me, I wasn't a fan of the NXT Women's North American title match. But overall, I think the show was a B. Like I said, just very solid from top to bottom. Not many complaints whatsoever. It was a little bit longer, I think, than Bash in Berlin, which is fine. It had one more matchup on the card, but really like where NXT is headed right now. I think NXT might be still my favorite brand in wrestling. Just what they're doing, what Shawn Michaels is accomplishing down there is a lot of good stuff happening. And the fact that Giulia, and that's going to take up a lot of the headlines coming out of No Mercy, the fact that Giulia now is here in the States, business just picked up. We still got Delta. We still got Stephanie Valkyrie that's waiting in the wings too. So, and you never know. Maybe we'll see Ricky Starks soon. But thanks, guys, for checking out this YouTube exclusive. Don't forget, like I said, to follow the Main Event Wrestling Network on all of our socials at mainevent_net. If you're interested in picking up some main event merch, you can do so at the OnTheMarkWrestlingPodcast.com. We have a lot of cool retro merchandise available on that website. And anything that you purchase from that website goes directly to the production of our main event mixers, main event YouTube channel, On The Mark stuff. It just keeps the lights on for us. So it would be greatly appreciated if you checked out all that good merch. But yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, which it's the only way you can watch it, it's a YouTube exclusive, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We are trying to at least get to 50 subscribers here. Like I said, relatively new network here. And shout out to all the great YouTube content that Tim Vicious has been doing here on this channel. Really the MVP of the Main Event YouTube channel, so make sure you check out his stuff. We have a playlist available on this channel. Just check out his Vicious Rants. He does Raw reviews and SmackDown reviews every single week here on the channel. So thanks, guys, for checking this out. Let me know down below in the comment section what you thought about No Mercy, and I'll talk to you guys next time.